Welcome to Card Players The Circuit with your hosts, the Donkey, the Cub, and the Caveman.
That's right, everyone. You are listening to Card Players The Circuit. We're broadcasting on cardplayer.com and on the iTunes Music Store as a podcast. Scott Huff, Gavin Smith, and Joe Cripwalk Sebok in his blue bandana.
It's black. Are you
This
blind?
is the most gangsta episode ever.
Are you? This is not
Card
blue.
Players
Let's talk about your colorblind issues before we start going.
What do you mean? That is blue.
This is black.
No, it's totally blue.
That's totally blue, dude. Let's talk about your colorblind issues. I'm assuming that Barry can see color.
Possibly be more black.
You
guys are completely wrong.
Well, we are here at the Bicycle Casino for the 2006 Legends of Poker. We have a great show for everybody today. Hand of the day, phone calls, poker talk with Big G and the baby kangaroo.
I'm gonna get someone else to decide what color this is.
Bring her over.
Emails.
Tell me what color this is. Can you tell me what color this is?
Our guest today
Thank
is
you.
Chip Jett.
Black. Thank you.
I guess Sebok wins.
It's not even close. This isn't even close.
I guess it's black.
It's not even close.
Now that we've determined that,
we got the color now.
All right, Chip Jett will be our guest today on the show, a buddy of Gavin's. I'll call him a friend of the circuit, as a matter of fact. He is going to be coming here early just to do the show, so we appreciate that. Today, however, is day 1B. My fearless co-hosts will be starting today.
We're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, are you guys feeling good?
Yes.
Let's do it. You know what? Let's do it today.
Okay, today we're gonna do it today.
That's right. I want to see the first ever you eliminate the entire field and the people who have the day off today all in one shot and win the whole entire tournament today.
That'd be fun.
And then when we get heads up, we play for all the cash.
Yeah, I'll
no
do that.
first, no second. There's just going to be all the money.
All right.
Okay, done.
All right, well, right now, after day 1A, Tuan Lee is our chip leader, 151,200 in chips.
Holy crap.
Second place is Mel Weiner with 102,000. Barry Schulman in third with 91,300. Tom Huffnagel with 79,000 in fourth place. And Gabe Kaplan, who did very well here last year. I mean, he didn't make the final table, but he was pretty deep. 73,000 in chips.
How exactly can you get 150,000 in chips on day one?
I know.
It's Tuan Lee.
I understand that, but
Tuan is a maniac.
That's crazy.
Tuan's a maniac.
And guess who else is still alive, boys? Mel Silver Fox Judah.
Silver Fox.
Mel Silver Fox Judah still alive with 28,000 in chips. Eliminated last night, however, Kathy Liebert, Doyle Brunson, Chao Zhang, Patrick Antonius, Jordan I'm So Lucky Zero Morgan, Captain Tom Franklin, Ted Forrest, Cindy Violet, and Hassan Habib. So we are going to have a tough field, I've heard today. I heard there's going to be a lot more pros actually in today's field than yesterday. Are you guys, were you aware of this beforehand? But that's what I heard the tournament director was talking about. You were?
Yeah, I was aware.
Is that generally how it works?
No, it's actually the opposite generally.
Really?
Usually the tougher day is the day which gives you a day off.
All right, now it's time for some poker news. Poker news. It's Slamastica, because I say so. The World Poker Tour has responded to the lawsuit against them by the 7 poker professionals. Here's what they had to say through Mackin Del Ryan of the Washington, D.C. based firm Brownstein, Hyatt, and Farber. He's been retained to represent the WPT. He is a highly respected and well-known antitrust lawyer. In the response, the WPT says that the allegations are misleading and without merit, and that they are disappointed that the action was even filed. Apparently what makes the 22-page response particularly interesting is a complete attempt to turn the tables of legitimacy and put the spotlight right back on the plaintiffs. This all, by the way, according to Online Poker Insider, which is a website. They say that the response argues that the association that the pros have with online poker rooms actually places the WPT at an unfair advantage. It goes on to further say that these players profit from poker rooms and take illegal play from U.S. citizens, and that they're putting the WPT at risk as the World Poker Tour's own poker site does not take play from U.S. citizens.
Interesting.
And apparently it was 22 pages. A lot of it was in response to the suit that was filed against them. Right. But obviously the plot is thickening here, and we are trying. We've already been trying this morning to get someone from the World Poker Tour to come on and discuss this, but it certainly seems like they are not going gently. I
do find it kind of interesting that rather than address the issues that the players are putting on them more, they are attempting to go on the offensive. So that has to say a little something about maybe about how they feel, about the issues that the players are bringing. I'm not sure what that says, but it's an interesting tactic.
I don't know. I think fighting back makes them seem more like they're in the right. Personally, I mean, just in general.
I don't know. I think it's really lame to bring up a completely opposite issue to what the complaint is. I mean, it's got nothing to do with it. All that can happen to this now is that things can get worse for everybody and tighten up the heat on online poker, which we all agree, doesn't need to have the heat turned up on it.
Right, that's true.
I'm inclined to agree with Gavin on this one because it seems like they don't want to deal with the issue that's been put in front of them, and rather they would kind of deal with this new issue. So it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds and what goes on. But upon a cursory listen, I'm kind of inclined to agree with Gavin on this one.
Do you feel like we're kind of like the Law and Order of poker radio now? Like 2 days in a row, we've been doing legal briefs.
Right. Well, I think that probably what will happen is the courts will have their decision, and then they'll bring it to the tribunal of Smith, Sebok, and Huff.
Exactly, we'll decide.
And then we will be the ones who make a true decision about this case. So we will be ready, America.
And now it's time for Poker Talk with Big G and the Baby Kangaroo.
Another edition of Poker Talk here. The min raise. Joe Sebok.
Yes.
You suggested that we do this one yesterday, so we saved it for today because I never like to do what you actually asked me to do. Right. The min raise, when do you use it? How do you use it? How do you think other players use it? Some of the benefits of the play.
I don't use it at all. It's something I think which is much more prevalent in online games. Basically, you see these min raises really, really quickly. So with that said, I don't use it. What you want to do to combat it, though, is you want to basically look at the people that are doing it against you and figure out, is this player min-raising me because they're on a draw and they just want to, basically see if they can get there cheap? Are they min-raising me with a huge hand because they want to ensure that I stay in the hand? So there really are a couple spots where they can use it against you. I don't like to use it because I don't like to, as I've said many times on the show, I like to keep my betting amount static. That way you have no clue what I have. You don't know if I'm going to draw. You don't know if I have 3 aces. You really have no idea. So for me, the min raise doesn't fit into my overall game, so it's not something I do. I'm not sure if Gavin uses it at all.
I sometimes do it.
Yeah.
Typically, one time I might do it is if I flop something like big, and it's kind of like a nondescript board where I think I might be able to induce somebody to make a play at me. So, if I'm like in the blind or something, the flop comes up, say 9-9-4, no suits, right? And the guy, in late position bets. I might min raise him there when I'm holding the 9, and then just to open action again and hopefully get the guy to do something he's not going to enjoy doing.
And now it's time for our hand of the day.
Nice hand, sir.
This was between Eric Seidel and Phil Hellmuth. Apparently, they had been involved in a lot of big hands together yesterday, and this was the third of, I think, 4 or 5 that they were involved in. The blinds were 150, 300 with a $50 ante. Seidel limped in on the button, and Hellmuth checked his big blind. Flop came 6-4 deuce with 2 hearts. Hellmuth checked. Seidel bet out 1,500, and Hellmuth called. The turn was the king of diamonds. Again, Hellmuth checked. Seidel bet 4,000, and Hellmuth again called. The 3 of diamonds came on the river. Hellmuth again checks. Seidel bets 7,000, and Hellmuth calls. Seidel, I'm not going to tell you the cards that they had, but let's talk about the play of this hand a bit. What do you think that Hellmuth could be check calling with there on that board, and possibly what Seidel was running with?
Well, with Phil is so famous for calling and keeping pot small that he literally could have anything. I mean, he could have had a draw. Certainly, by the end of the hand, you don't think that that's the case. Or he could have a monster. So Phil is a particularly difficult person to put on a hand because he does like the call rather than getting in there and raising a lot.
I think he has kings up.
Bam.
Prediction.
Gavin knows.
I'm giving Phil king 4.
So you think he hit the king?
I think he hit the king.
Where was the king on the
4th
turn?
Street? He made 2 pair.
That's right.
Decided he didn't want to play a huge pot with top and middle pair, and then on the river, I mean, he probably would have led the river if it was a nothing card, but if he's got the hand, I think. But when the river comes, backdoor flush and fills in the straight a bit, I think he's prepared to just let Eric bluff.
I think it makes sense. I think it certainly could be king 4.
How about Eric Seidel, the play of this hand? Very aggressive betting on each street.
I don't like the limp. I don't limp in late position like that. That's just
what do you think about limping on the button?
It's not what I do. Every game, every player has his own game. It's not my game. My game, I'm in there in a lot of pots. I'm raising a lot. So for me to limp on the button looks ridiculous. It's like me. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit into my overall game. Eric obviously is a far better player than I am. So he probably is a lot trickier. He probably has a lot more, options that he can do. So for him, it might make a lot of sense for him to limp, with whatever hand he had. You never know.
Yeah.
I don't really use it much either, but I don't mind it. A lot of people do it. I know Eric Lindgren does it a lot. He's a big limper on the button, but I'm going to give Eric pocket 5s in this particular hand.
All right. Well, what ended up happening, we're not going to find out Phil Hellmuth's cards because he mucked, but Eric Seidel flipped over the 5 of diamonds, 3 of clubs for the flop straight.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And obviously took a pretty big pot there, pretty big chunk off of Phil. Looks like over 12,000 in chips from Phil. But yeah, Phil just mucked outright. And later they got another confrontation where he doubled him up right towards the end of the day. Phil was top 10 in chips as the day was winding down. And he doubled Eric up at the end of the day and then flipped a tray over, apparently, one of the food service trays.
I remember that hand.
After he doubled him up or knocked it over.
Yeah, so. I guess the reason, I don't like limping with hands like that because, okay, it just depends on the player. Usually,
choosing to play it on the merit of the hand, 5-3 off.
No. I mean, I'm going to raise with a good hand or a bad hand.
Me too.
Yeah, that's just the way that I play. But he limps. If he's raised, he certainly has to fold. You basically the only way that you can play that hand effectively is if you flop a monster. You flop 2 pair, you flop a straight. Something miraculous happens. Otherwise, it's tough to play. So why not add in that fold equity and just go in there blazing and raising? Because most of the time you're not going to win a hand with 3-5 offsuit. Most of the time it's not going to happen.
And this time he won a huge pot with
This time he won a huge pot, but, this is kind of the outlier. It's not going to be the norm that you're going to be able to win a huge pot unless, like I said, you flop a huge hand, and then you can play it with some confidence.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we have an email for us, and then Chip Jett will be in the Circuit studio. Card Player is back on the tournament trail starting right here at the WPT Legends of Poker. We'll be with you all tournament season long with live updates, chip counts, videos, and the circuit. Check it out every day at www.cardplayer.com. Welcome back to the circuit, everyone. We are broadcasting here from the Bicycle Casino in Bell Gardens, California. It is the 2006 Legends of Poker. Scott Huff, Gavin Smith, and Joe Sebok. And email for us right now. It says, hey, my name is Kyle Kajak, and I'm from Minnesota. I got to say, I love the circuit. Listen to every episode. I'm 17 and about to be 18 here in Minnesota. You can play at the casinos or card rooms once you're 18, but only limit poker. Wow. My question is, I have a bankroll of about $1,000, and at the local card room, the limits are 2-4, 3-6, 4-8, and 8-16, and up to 30-60. And I have to say that in my home game, I'm very crazy, and I love to gamble, but it's for lower limits than what they have at the card room. From what I've heard, the 2-4 game is just redonkulous, so I was wondering what game you think would be right from me and my bankroll. You guys are slambastica.
Nice.
From Kyle. So about to turn 18, and it will be legal for him to play, so we don't feel bad dispensing the advice.
I think you should probably pay $500 a hand blackjack and just play 2 hands and see how it goes. Because you can build up quick that way. I mean, you're either, okay, no, I'm kidding. He should play the lowest limit that they have. I mean, I've news. What was his name? Kyle?
Kyle.
I have news for you, Kyle. All those games are going to be redonkulous. Poker these days, at any low limit, is very, very, you're going to be playing showdown poker. So you're not going to be able to make a lot of moves. You're not going to be able to do a lot of things. But just by playing your cards and just by playing your position and not doing too much too fancy, you can make good money playing in those low limits, in my opinion.
I don't think he needs to play the lowest limit they have. I think he can play the 2-4 fine.
2-4 is the lowest limit.
2-4 is the lowest. 3-6 was the next one up.
My bad then. 2-4 is fine. He's got 250 big bets. And I think he can take shots at 3-6. I don't think you should play 3-6 every time, but I would say you go in there to play the 2-4 and you watch the 3-6 game, and if it looks like it's a really good game, then you take a shot here and there.
Excellent point.
All right, well, right after this, we will have Chip Jett on the circuit. He's going to day 2 right here at the Legends. We'll be back.
Yeah, baby.
A lot of things in life can be pretty boring, like being stuck in an elevator, sitting in on a 2-hour lecture on astrophysics, or being forced to go to your girlfriend's friend's wedding. But Card Player has what you need to get you through the monotony of life. Take Card Player wherever you go with the all-new Card Player Mobile. Text the word TRIAL, TRIAL, to the number 96262 on your mobile phone. Go to www.cardplayermobile.com on your phone's browser. You will see chip counts, updates, and copies of our magazine. Take us, Card Player, the poker authority, with you everywhere you go. Welcome back to the circuit, everyone. Our guest today is a poker professional with over $1.5 million in lifetime tournament earnings. He is still alive here at the Legends of Poker with 21,300 in chips. Chip Jett, how's it going, man?
Good, real good.
Thanks for coming on and doing the show on your day off, and probably earlier than you wanted to be doing interviews.
Yeah, I had errands to run, so it wasn't a major inconvenience. But it's my pleasure to be here. So
I hope we don't fall under the term errands. Do you consider the circuit to be an errand?
Well, Gavin's an errand, but you guys are.
Obviously.
I actually think we just got a new slogan for the show. The circuit, not a major inconvenience. Come on the show, we're not a major inconvenience. So you are still alive. Can you talk a little bit about your day yesterday here at the Legends?
Actually, for me, it was pretty uneventful. I managed to not play a hand for about the first 3 hours, which set a record. And then
it's 30 minutes. It certainly set one for you anyway.
Right. I set records and broke them. Then doubled up to about 40,000, and then dwindled. The last 3 hours, my chips just went from that to like 6,000, and then I doubled up right before like 3 hands before the day broke. So I'm happy to be back where I started.
Now, Gavin, you were saying right before the show started, very uncharacteristic. Why is Gavin saying it's uncharacteristic for you to not play a hand in 3 hours? How do people generally typify your style out here on the tournament circuit?
Reckless, I guess. I'm not known for sitting back and waiting, so I guess.
Chip's a crackhead at the table. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. You're a crackhead.
Typically,
what about away from the table?
Typically, he'll have all of his chips in the middle sometime during the first orbit.
The first orbit?
Yeah.
It's not even the first hour.
I mean, I didn't come here to fold.
Well, I heard that you battled with Eric Lindgren pretty much all day long. There was at least a couple of pots you guys got tangled up with. Can you walk us through a couple of those confrontations?
Well, I don't want to embarrass the guy.
Oh
no, I'm just kidding.
How much chips does he have by now?
He's got more than I do.
Yeah, like 3 times as much?
No, like twice maybe.
62,000.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Your math not so good, Chip.
I thought he had 45,000.
It goes with the reckless image.
Right, exactly.
And the crack.
I'm not one of those math guys. No, Eric played really good, real aggressive. He probably should have about 100,000. He got pretty unlucky in a few spots, and managed to save his chips a number of times where most people would have got them all in. So I mean, he's fun to watch. I actually don't get to play with him very much. So.
But when you're at a table like that, and I don't know what the rest of your table draw was like, maybe you can clue us in, but it's obviously not the ideal situation to be tangling in pots with players who are also great players, I'm assuming. Do you ever actually sort of like what you would think would happen in a cash game when there's a few people who are there who don't play that well and you're trying to get their chips? I mean, do you ever consciously avoid other players at the table that you know are world-class players as well?
Definitely. I mean, if it helps if they're in front of you in the action. And last night Eric was 2 spots behind me, so I didn't really get to choose when I was going to be in a pot with him. But I think it definitely slowed me down. I mean, I probably entered less pots than I would have, knowing that he was behind me. And normally, if you're at a table with 5 people you know and 5 people you don't know, you'd like to play against the 5 people you don't know.
Right.
Yesterday, the 5 people that I didn't know played better than I did, so I was in a little bit of trouble there.
You're screwed on every.
Yeah. So I was forced to tangle with Eric a few times yesterday.
I can just see Chip. I really want to avoid the players that have my number, but all 9 of them have my number. I don't know what to do.
I know those 4 are better than me, and the other 5 seem to play better than I do. So.
Well, Gavin, we know that you don't avoid anyone but Joe. I mean, is it sort of the same way for you, where you are staying out of the way of the better players, or do you just do your kamikaze psycho shit on people no matter who they are?
Well, no. I go kamikaze psycho shit, but yeah, you definitely try to stay out of people's way. There are certain hands that you play that you know can get dicey. So those kind of hands, sometimes I'll lay them down, get out of the way. And the huge factor, like Chip said, is if they're on your left or on your right. Because if they're on your right, you get to dictate the action. You get to decide how the hand is going to play out. But if they're on your left, you don't get to make those decisions. So you can come in with some weak garbage and just get slapped repeatedly. So it has to be in the back of your mind, and you always want to mess with the people that you feel you have the advantage on for sure.
Well, the end of 2005 was pretty big for you, Chip. You got really hot at the end of the year, made the final table at the London Open, and also I was doing some research earlier. It seems like you got really hot in 2003 as well, made a couple World Series final tables, a couple World Poker Tour final tables. Do you think that there's something to do with your style of play that causes the sort of streaky, all of a sudden Chip is just cashing left and right, making final tables, and what do you attribute it to?
I'm trying to figure it out. If the pattern continues, I'm just going to not play poker during any years that end in an even number, and I think that'll be better. But so I might, if I don't cash here, I might just sit out until 2007.
Until 2007?
Yeah. But I think with poker, I think it just is streaky. I mean, it's very, there's cycles of good and cycles of bad, and when you're doing stuff that's working, other people pick up on it and they kind of stay out of your way, which makes playing poker very, a lot easier.
Right.
So, success leads to success, I think, and failure leads to failure. So it's hard to stop the train when it starts to crash, and it's and it's easy to.
It's also the nature of the beast with the style that Chip plays, and to a lesser extent Gavin plays. the runs are going to come in bunches. I mean, that's just it's the volatility of that style. So you're either going to get on hot streaks and get tons of chips, or you're going to be out.
So it is more the style though than being card dependent at all. Your style is much less card dependent, and so therefore your style is just more volatile in general.
Yeah, well, I think the style that the hyper aggressive players play, you're either going to be there or you're going to be gone. You're not going to be consistently, threatening on the bubble to get in. You're either going to be smashing people or you'll probably be out of the tournament long before that point.
I also kind of find myself, the longer I go on a cold streak, I find myself shying away from being as aggressive as I was, which probably works against me. I mean, I should just stick with what I know I can do, but I kind of get a little gun shy, and then I think that works against me and helps perpetuate the cold streak and stuff. Right. So I'm trying to get around all these little...
Wow, you know some big words.
Well,
perpetuate.
All he said was cold streak, Gavin. I don't know how we're defining big words.
In Canada, 5 letters is a big word.
Isn't Guelph 5 letters though? Am I doing that right? Guelp. Oh no, it's 6 letters. Sorry. There you go. Okay, 6 letters. Well, Chip, on the opposite side of that, what do you think, when you were mentioning when things are going well, success breeds success, what do you think it is about your game when you're playing well and you are on a hot streak? What do you think you do better than anyone else on the circuit? What do you think is your real strong points to your game?
I probably don't think I do anything better than anyone else, but maybe counting random stacks of chips. I'm pretty good at that, but that doesn't really help you. I really just try to kind of put myself in other people's shoes, kind of try to feel what they're feeling and what makes them bet certain amounts or look at the flop a certain way. I just kind of try to be empathetic to their situation and try to figure out what's going on in their head when they do stuff. And when that's working, it's very effective. And when it's not, it's I knew it. Oh, I was wrong again. It's kind of hard to explain why you're getting knocked out day after day when you were pretty sure you were right, but you weren't. But
right.
Is that basically something that comes from experience? A lot of just experience at the table, or is there anything in particular that? I mean, is it just something maybe that's a personal characteristic? I know Kenneth James mentioned empathy as well as something that he was very good at. I mean, how exactly is it? Just a personal quality you think you have that's part of you as a human being, or is it something that you've learned just from experience in poker?
Probably a little bit of both. I mean, I'm really, like my friends all say, I'm pretty good at being devil's advocate. If they have some kind of problem and they want me to argue both sides of it at them, that's something I'm pretty good at. If they're fighting with their girlfriend, I'll try to explain what their girlfriend's thinking when they're throwing them out of the house or something, or that kind of stuff. So it's
Chip is sensitive.
I'm a sensitive guy.
He's a sensitive guy.
Ask my wife; she knows.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of your wife, that was the perfect segue. And I shouldn't even say that. From now on, I'm not going to say when it's the perfect segue. I'm just going to let it flow. Yeah, but that was kind of cool because I wanted to ask you about, speaking of the hot streak at the end of last year, you made a final table with Karina. Is that right, at the London Open? What was that like?
That was pretty neat. I mean, I guess it was the first time that a husband and wife made the final table of a $10,000 event, so that was kind of cool. I mean, there was only 9 people to start the event, but I'm just kidding. It was really it was neat. I mean, I wish we had done a little bit better once we did make the final table, but it was exciting. And anytime you travel halfway around the world to play poker, if you can both do well, it makes the trip more enjoyable. That's for sure.
Did you guys tangle at all at the final table?
No.
Was it swift?
She got knocked out 8th, so
okay. And
I managed to stay out of her way until
That would have been really dangerous if you had knocked her out.
Right.
Seriously, there'd been no sex for about a year.
The couch. Actually, it happened in Foxwoods where we were in a stud high-low tournament a couple years ago, and we were down to 4-handed, and I knocked her out. I put a pretty ugly beat on her, and when she's getting up from the table, she just looks at me and says, "You have to win." If you don't win, don't come home. That kind of a thing. So I ended up winning the tournament. So we stayed married. That was good.
Were there any conversations? Did you guys play together at all leading up to the final table? Or was that the first time you guys had sat together in tournament?
It was the first time. I think either once or twice we had drawn. Like when our table broke, we had drawn, and I was walking over to her table, and I saw it was her table, and I just Matt Savage was a tournament director, and he's really good about keeping people that might have common interests.
Maybe a conflict of interest.
Right, exactly, yeah. So he's good at keeping them separate, and he would just grab somebody else that was going to another table and switch us real quick, which is, and that's pretty common actually with most of the tournament directors will do their very best to not make you play against your relatives.
Really, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. I was just going to ask that.
Except for me, man. They put me at Bears table all the time.
Well, that's because you guys don't have the same last name.
That makes no sense at all. Good job, though, Gavin. Your logic is impeccable.
That's why.
No. We played together so many times, a totally inordinate amount of times. So it's really
probably
weird.
if you asked, if you drew more attention to it, because I know like this with the Schulmans, they will separate them.
They will.
Yeah.
Well, see, I don't mind because I want to bust him because I haven't busted him yet. I got
because you want a book.
I got him all in once. But he got out. So it was frustrating. I wanted to snap him off.
Well, you and Karina have the Ask Chip and Karina column in Card Player every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
The last one that I saw. Your quote was, "Scientists have concluded that internet poker is more addictive than crack cocaine, so you can't hope to steal his attention." But at least the first half of that quote. Do you play a lot on the internet?
I play long enough until my account is dry, which is usually like one session. But I'd like to play more.
Well, I guess I was going to ask if you are successful on the internet. I'm assuming that's a no.
No. It's bad news.
So I don't know. Isn't reckless aggressive play kind of what goes on the internet a bit? What changes do you make to your game, or do you play pretty much the same exact style when you're on the internet as live?
I play the same, except I'm playing 6 tables and way above my bankroll. So I mean that changes things a little bit. But I think that's bad. I don't think you should play 6 tables.
And it's certainly not above your bankroll with 6 tables.
Do you play any tournaments at all on the internet, or is it just cash in?
The money usually doesn't last long enough for me to I'll sign up for a tournament and then it's like 45 minutes to wait to get into the tournament, and then I'm like unregistering.
And you've blown it all?
Yeah, I'm unregistering for the tournament because I need to buy into the live game. It's really bad. It's not pretty when I get on the internet.
So it is crack cocaine.
Yeah.
What limits are you playing on the internet when you're on there?
It depends. It depends how much I was able to borrow off someone. Speaking of which, Gavin, you got any extra on there?
I'm like you.
No, Gavin, I've seen your online account. You make transfers to people like me, and we play drunk on the couch against Mike Matiso, heads up in Omaha. It's great. It's not like crack cocaine at all.
That was fun.
That was fun. All right, well, so considering you do the column called Ask Chip and Karina every once in a while, I had the circuit has its own version called Ask Chip without Karina.
But Karina's listening, so it'll
Are you
be
allowed are you allowed to answer without Karina?
Yes, I am actually.
Are you game for this?
Sure.
And make it a little dicey.
Is it going to be Ask Chip about Karina?
That would be even better.
No, that'd be worse.
I'm gonna
worse for you, better for us.
Make it suspenseful
Chip,
for you.
You're totally allowed to lie.
Okay, good.
Okay. The best part about married life on the circuit, not our show, because none of us are married,
on the
tournament
correct.
circuit. That's correct.
Is
that's right.
This
We're asking. It's complicated.
Can we make it multiple choice?
No.
Okay. The best part.
A, spooning Gavin at night. B.
What about forking him? Oh, sorry. Let's see. The best part is having the support system of my family there when I do something stupid and go broke.
All right. The worst part about married life on the circuit, the tournament circuit.
Having that support system there to yell at me when I do something stupid and go broke.
Are you a Vegas resident?
Yes, I am.
The best strip club in Vegas.
I've heard that the best... I guess it depends. You have to define best. Like, some people like pretty girls. Some people like girls that try harder. I guess it just depends.
I like pretty girls that try harder.
Oh, that's a tough combination.
Yeah, I know.
I'd say probably the prettiest girls I've heard, not from personal experience because I am married. I've heard are at Spearmint Rhino. What do you think, Gavin? What have you heard?
I don't know. Actually, to be honest with you, I really don't go very often. But I've been to the Spearmint Rhino before, and they are quite pretty girls.
I have a question. By not very often, do you mean 4 times a week?
No, I mean like maybe twice a year.
Yeah, that isn't very often.
And finally, the better poker player, you or Karina?
Oh, what form of poker? We're going to be very evasive.
It doesn't matter.
This is quite evasive. These are awesome tactics, though. What form of poker? No limit Texas Hold'em tournaments.
My my results have been better, but I play more tournaments than her, so it's kind of it's hard. That one's hard to call. She's a much better cash game player for sure. I mean, she's actually cashed out, winner before. So that
I want you guys to know that I remember Chip when he had a spine.
Ooh,
Oh, my.
Wow, that's got a sting in the.
No.
Whatcha?
It's the truth. She's
Okay,
very,
so where are you better? Are you allowed to say?
let's see.
He's got to pick a game she doesn't play. That's
Right,
the only way he
right.
can get out of this.
It's like pinochle.
Deuce
I'm
to
much better
7,
at pinochle.
triple draw.
Deuce to 7 triple draw. I think I'm stronger. Badoogie, and I'm, just because she's never played that one. That's it. I'm going to stick with that.
Deuce and Badoogie.
All right, now that we've got them just like wide open right now, do you guys have any you want to add to Ask Chip without Karina? Sebok?
No.
What do you think of Sebok's bandana?
Covered it. Why do you gotta hate on the bandana? This
Without
is 2 days in a row
Karina.
that you've hated
Karina
the
might
bandana.
like it. Girls
Well-
might think that's kind of cool looking, but I'm going to ask Chip without Karina.
All right.
Bandana, yay or nay?
We're in the red part of LA right now, not the blue part.
Not the blue and black.
So you better
So
be
I'm literally
careful.
taking my life into my own
Right,
hands
right,
by wearing
right,
this
yeah,
bandana.
Don't escort Chip to the parking lot. Well, Chip, we appreciate you coming by this morning and not being too big of an inconvenience on your life. And we hope to have you on again soon. And good luck tomorrow in day 2.
All right, thank you very much.
Chip Jett, everybody.
All right, Chip.
Is that $75 you won in the 50-cent rebuy tournament online, burning a hole in your pocket? Check out the Card Player Store. Go to www.cardplayer.com, click on Poker Store, pick up some books, some DVDs. We've got everything you could possibly want for poker-related merchandise. Once again, www.cardplayer.com and click on Poker Store today. Welcome back to the circuit, everyone. Scott Huff, Gavin Smith, and Joe Sebok. I really liked that Ask Chip without Karina segment. It was
I
liked
like
how we actually made him a little nervous.
It's
Put him
nice to make
on
him
the hot
squirm.
seat.
It's nice to make.
He's
Chip
a wimp.
He
He wouldn't
squirmed like a tricky
He's a wimp.
salamander.
He wouldn't answer the questions.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
spineless, as you pointed out.
He
Gav.
squirmed out of that like a tricky salamander, I'm not going to lie to you.
He was like, tick, 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 and he just ran away.
Very tricky. And then
He
just
ran away,
up.
climbed into a hole, and he was just done. with it.
He was all set. All right. Well, you guys have to go play, and you've been a champ, both of you, champions for coming
We've
in and
been
doing
a
this show.
cumulative champ.
A
Together,
cumulative champ.
Together we are a champ. Apart, we are idiots. Together, we
Well,
are.
people
a
are
champ.
filing in right now, and I know you guys like to be the first ones at your table.
True.
That's part of their big strategy. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to The Circuit. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, the Legends of Poker at the Bicycle Casino. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.